Stan. Actually, you contributed an interview essay to What is a Superhero book I'm co-editing. We talked on the phone. The question is Odd John. It's a 1935 novel which features a bald telepathic mutant who gathers young mutants to him to protect them from a world that hates and fears them. I passed the question to your assistant. He said that you said you've never heard of it, but it's where the term homo superior comes from. And so I'm just curious, if you didn't get homo superior from Odd John, do you remember the circumstances for using the term homo superior?
This is one of those things where I'm going to abbreviate drastically. Where did the term homo superior come from? Do you remember?
Oh, that's easy. We're homo sapiens, so I felt the next stage would be homo superior.
What was the name of the book?
After homo sapien.
It's Odd John. Odd John.
Have you ever heard of a book called Odd John?
No.
Okay.
What is that?
It was published in 1935 by Olaf Stapleton. Don't worry, it was out of copyright when you...
It's a book from 1935 that mentions mutants and homo superior.
Wow.
It's about a bald telepathic mutant.
They were all telepathic?
Bald telepathic mutant who gathers young mutants to him to protect them from a world that hates and fears them. Does that sound like anything?
Yeah.
Can I sue him?
Yeah.
And incidentally, the novel ends on an island with the great powers of the world and the warships and they actually do bombard it and kill everybody. It has the same ending as First Class.
Same ending as what?
As First Class, the movie. All right, and we're gonna have to, if you can look and see how many people are online.
I never heard of that.
Let's be courteous and get the questions out.
Hi, Stan. I was just wondering, what kind of creative input did you have on the Marvel movies, if any?
So what kind of creative input do you have on the Marvel movies?
Believe it or not, none, or hardly any, which is probably why they're so good. But I mean, I know the producer, and we meet and we talk, but I try to butt out. We have good writers, we have great directors, they know their business, and I'm just lucky they call me for a cameo. I really have very little to do with the movie itself.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Stan. I really just first want to say thank you. And also, after watching the documentary on you, I have nothing but respect and admiration for the relationship that you and your wife have. And I'm a young writer who's married, and I just wanted to ask, how do you manage to keep that relationship so strong?
Stan, how long you been married?
Yeah, I heard that. I've been married 65 years, but we're still working at it. Actually, 65 years and 3 months, I think. I don't know. I like her, and I think she likes me, and we get along well together. I don't know the answer to that. It's just, she's nice.
Thank you. That's all you can ask for.
Right. Secret to happiness, people. Be nice.
Got a bad temper, though.
Oh, Stan, first I'd like to say thank you for Spider-Man. I mean, it's...
You're welcome. Hey, thank you for having me here.
For me being able to read it, I really appreciate it. But my question is pretty simple, really. You've been in on all the movies. Which one was your favorite cameo?
Which one?
Which was your favorite cameo in the movies?
Well, I think I got a kick out of them not letting me into the wedding of Reed and Sue. And I kind of liked being a librarian while the Spider-Man was fighting behind me. But I got to tell you, Iron Man 3, when it opens up, I think that's the best and funniest one. I can't wait till you see it. It probes really the depths of my acting ability.
Next.
Mr. Lee, you've practically defined what a superhero is for any generation. Like you have the young, like a weak person, big, but with a big heart, like Steve Rogers as Captain America. And how exactly do you keep all these characters so grounded?
How do you keep all your amazing characters grounded and so real?
Well, all I did when I wrote them was I tried to think, if this character was a real person, what would his or her life be like? And I thought it would be fun with Peter Parker to make him, you know, teenagers were always sidekicks. There was Bucky for Captain America and Robin for Batman. I thought it would be fun to have a teenager who's a real superhero himself. And then I figured, well, what'll his life be like? I thought it would be nice to make him a guy who didn't have everything working right for him. He didn't have enough money. He didn't have that many girlfriends. And then the ultimate, he thought he was responsible for the death of his uncle. That was too much. But I tried to figure, besides their super qualities, what kind of people are they? What lives do they live? I had mentioned somewhere before, I always wondered, Superman, where did he live? You know, did he live in an apartment, a condo, a house? What was his private life, except for the fact that he liked Lois Lane and nobody knew who he was when he took off his glasses? I didn't know anything about him. So all I tried to do was give all of my superheroes some sort of a private life and something that might worry them or bother them, because everybody has something that worries and bothers them. I'm worried and bothered that I may be talking too long. So I just tried to make them human beings who happen to have superpower also. I hope that answered. I forgot what the question was.
That was great.
Yeah,
That was good. That was good. Thank you.
St. Louis can now add another Stan the Man to be one of their favorite people.
St. Louis loves you.
Oh, I love St. Louis.
What is your favorite?
So your
My
voice
wife, what?
was the voice of Madam Web on the Spider series. Is that how she really talks?
No. She's English, and she had, the most beautiful voice. She sounded like Greer Garson, whom none of you remember. But no, she's got a gorgeous voice.
So that's not, she doesn't scare people when she talks like that?
She doesn't scare people when she talks?
Well, sometimes she scares me because I don't. She's liable to say, "Can I go to Neiman Marcus and go shopping?" And that's terrifying.
Next question.
I want to be a writer, and I have 2 questions for you.
One question.
Well, when you were writing comics from 1960 and 1970, and you had all your heroes, how did you come up with a new villain for each issue?
As you were writing comics in the 60s and 70s, how did you come up for villains for your comics? New villains. Keep it fresh.
A lot of times I just thought of names of animals. Octopus, lizard. I don't know. I really wish I could answer that intelligently, but I don't know. I would sit down and think, I have a hero who can do this. I have to find a villain who can do things that might really threaten the hero, so the hero would have a tough time defeating the villain. And, you keep thinking, and you come up with something like Dr. Doom or the Vulture. I can't even remember all of our villains.
All right. Animals. All right, next question.
No more questions. Goodbye, you've been nice.
All right, just look up at it and talk.
If you were to write anything but comics, what would you write about?
If you were going to write anything other than comic books, what would you write?
Well, probably a television series or a movie. In fact, I'm working on some now, but they're a long way off. But anything that has to do with pictures and words, like a movie. You see the pictures and you hear the words. I always thought when I was a kid I'd write the great American novel, but I don't think I'd like to write a novel because it's just words, and I'm so used to looking at pictures while the words are there. So it would be anything that has to do with pictures and words.
All right, good question. Next.
Hi, I was just wondering, how did you come up with the idea of the X-Men?
How'd you come up with the idea of the X-Men?
I read that book the guy mentioned. No, the way it really happened, I had already done a few others, and they were selling well, and my publisher said, come on, dream up a new book for me. So I was thinking, I had run out of ways for characters to get superpowers. Spider-Man was bitten by a radioactive spider. Daredevil, I think there were gamma rays that he was exposed to. No, the Hulk was exposed to gamma rays, and the Fantastic Four had cosmic rays. I had run out of rays. So I finally took the cowardly way out, and I said, wait a minute, what if I have a group of heroes who were just born with that power? Then I wouldn't have to explain anything. They were just born mutants, and that's really the way I thought of the X-Men. So I went running into my publisher, and I said, I got the idea for you. I told him, he liked it, and I said, I'm going to call it The Mutants. He said, that is the worst title I've ever heard. He said, nobody knows. He had great respect for our readers. He said, nobody will know what a mutant is. So he was paying my salary. I had to do what he said. So I thought, I'll dream up another title. And then I thought, well, they have extra power. And I remembered I had created a character called Professor Xavier to be the head of the group. Extra power, Xavier. Just for fun, I said, I'll call him the X-Men. Ran into my publisher, how about the X-Men? Great title. And as I walked out, I thought, if I couldn't figure out how bosses think, if nobody would know what a mutant was, how would anybody know what an X-Man is? But he okayed the title, and I was happy with it, and that's how it happened.
All right, we have time for about 2 or 3 more questions.
No, I got time.
You're the boss. Max is making faces.
I ain't got time.
Yes, sir.
I was wondering, who was your favorite artist to work with?
My favorite what?
Do you have a favorite artist to work with?
They were all so good. I probably did more work in the beginning with Jack Kirby than anybody. He was wonderful. And of course, Ditko was wonderful doing Spidey and Doctor Strange. But John Romita was terrific. He could take over any strip and make it sensate. He took over Spider-Man when Ditko left. He did a wonderful job. John Buscema was a fantastic artist. Gene Colan, Bob Kane. I mean, I could keep naming them. I was the luckiest guy in the world. Whatever I wrote, they drew it so beautifully that it looked good, and I get all the credit.
Nice. Thank you. All right, let's go one more.
Hi, Stan. When Hollywood gets smart and comes calling to do the story of Marvel Comics, who would you like to see cast to play you?
When Marvel does when a movie does the story of Marvel Comics on the big screen, who's going to play Stan Lee?
Brad Pitt.
Well, who did he say?
He said Brad Pitt.
Yeah, either Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise. No, they're not good looking enough.
He's so
I don't
modest.
know. It'll probably be some funny looking comedian. I've no idea.
What about Bobby De Niro?
Bobby
De Niro? What?
Robert De Niro.
He's not bad.
He's not bad.
I'd settle for anybody.
One more and then we're done, folks. I'm sorry, guys, if you're in line. I apologize. Go ahead, you're it.
I'm a very, very new comic reader. I'm a very big fan of Captain America, and I was wondering what brought about him coming back to the Marvel Universe in Avengers 4.
What caused you to bring Captain America back?
That's a good question. I had all our other characters, and I had always liked Captain America. And I wanted one guy without any powers that were too super. And I remembered that when I was younger, I read Captain America, and I liked him. And I said, but he's dead. How can I bring him back? Then I figured, okay, he was in a plane. It crashed in the north. and it got into a glacier, and he was frozen for 20 or 30 years. So I thought, I'm going to bring him back, but then I had to think of a personality to give him. The only thing I didn't like about him, he never really had a personality. He just fought the bad guys. So I thought, I'll bring him back to life years later, and I'll let him feel as though he's something of an anachronism. Suddenly he's in an age where there are hippies and rock music and protest marches and all the stuff that was going on in the 60s. And he's not used to it, and he doesn't understand it. And I remember there was one line I wrote for him where he said, maybe I should have questioned more and battled less. And I wanted to make him an interesting kind of confused guy, but who always tries to do the right thing. And as we started using him, I got to like him more and more. So I put him in the Avengers, and now in the movies, he's like the leader of the Avengers. And it's amazing how that happened, because he had been a character we had forgotten, thinking he's too patriotic, too corny. And now he's become popular, and that probably proves something, and I don't have any idea what it is.